All right, hello Kipsters. Good to see you all this week. Reminder, make sure expectations, you try your best, do your hardest this week. Stay safe when you're practicing your exercises. Um, if you miss class, this is probably why you're watching the video. So I want you to try to follow along, do all the exercises and the flexibility exercises that we're going to talk about today to the best of your ability. And we are going to try to get all of them in within 20 to 25 minutes so that you are within your normal class time. Make sure that once you have completed this video, that you then go ahead and watch all of the videos of the exercises, the individual ones that I will post in your Google Classroom. This video is just going to go over what we are going to discuss about what flexibility exercises are and the two different types, and then you will get a chance to practice the exercises, and I will have all those videos for you on the Google Classroom in one spot. So here we go. We're going to start. So when we talk about flexibility, okay, when we talk about flexibility, flexibility is the range of motion in a joint or a group of joints and their ability to move effectively through a complete range. So when we talk about joints, we talk about our shoulder joints, okay? We talk about our knee joints, joints in our fingers. We have joints in our hips. We have joints in our feet and our toes. And so when we are also talking about flexibility, we also talk about muscles and their ability to go in a wide range of motion. And some of us have a bigger range of motion and some of us have a little bit less. So when you're able to stretch out further and stretch a muscle further, you have a wider range of motion. If your muscles are really tight or a joint is not at its full range of motion, then it's not going to go as far as it possibly can or that it's allowed by the body. So our job is to make sure that we keep our joints flexible so that we can experience and enjoy a large range of motion so that our bodies don't get locked up and can't do things and are resistant to activities when we get older in life. If you can think about someone who might be a little bit older in your life, like I'm thinking of my grandmother, her flexibility is nothing like mine. Her flexibility is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's harder for her to raise her arm up over her shoulder. It's hard for me to raise my, or for her to raise like her knees up or to move her hands and her feet like she used to when she was my age. As you can see, I have a really good range of motion in my shoulders. I can move them really easily. I can stretch my arms out. So my range of motion is really good right now. I could even get it even stronger and get it a lot wider, but I have to practice these exercises. Okay, so there are two types of stretches that are going to help our flexibility. The first one is called dynamic stretching. This stretching is best done before you do an activity, okay? And these are stretches that you do while you are moving, okay? So you're not sitting still, stretching, okay? These are moving exercises that get your muscles and your joints kind of warmed up a little bit. They get them moving, they start stretching them out a little bit, and they start increasing the range of motion. When we go through the rest of the slides, I'll give you examples of which ones are dynamic and which ones are static. Usually your muscles are cold. So when we say your muscles are cold, doesn't mean that they're cold like they're freezing, like they're in an ice box or something like that. It means that they're not moving, they're in a resting state. So right now while I'm sitting, my muscles would be cold if I tried to get up and exercise because I haven't been moving them. Once I start moving around and start doing games and activities, my muscles become warm. And that's when we switch over to what we call static stretching, which is better for when your muscles are warm after an activity, when your muscles are warm after maybe you do some dynamic stretching to get them loosened up a little bit. It's good when you do them when you are not moving. These are called static. Static meaning not moving. Okay, so you're sitting there, you're reaching out, trying to touch your toes, stuff like that. I'll point out the static stretching when we get to those as well. Okay, so moving on. Now, the reasons why we talk about flexibility and why flexibility is so important. The benefits of stretching are, there are so many benefits, but I really want to stress the following 8 that I have on the slide. Okay, when we are more flexible, we are less likely to get injured. So when our arm doesn't flex or doesn't have a good range of motion, if it only can go this high compared to what I can do right now, if I fall and my arm gets bent and goes further beyond what it is, then I'm going to have an injury. Might be my knee or my feet, my legs, my hips, whatever it is. And it's the same thing with muscles. If we don't keep them stretched out and nice and elasticy, like a rubber band where they can loosen up easily, then they become very likely to get injured much easier. Okay. Another reason why we stretch is to recover after exercise. Okay, it's a good way for our bodies to recover after a hard workout. Okay, maintaining flexibility. I already spoke to you about my grandmother. It's important that we maintain our flexibility because as we get older, we start to lose our flexibility naturally. Just our bodies do that naturally. But if we continue to do it, we will continue to stay as flexible as we possibly can as we get older. We become more agile, or our agility is good. So when you can make quick movements, stuff like that, when you are flexible, you're able to do those a lot easier. The next thing is reduce muscle tension. When you lose your flexibility, your muscles get tightened up and it makes it harder to move, and then they're tight and they hurt a lot more. Okay? We've already talked about improving our joint health and range of motion. The more we stretch and we work on our flexibility, the more our joints are going to move and have a better range of motion. Also, it increases our blood flow to the muscles. And when our muscles have more blood flow, they're going to work better because the blood is carrying the oxygen that our muscles need. Okay? And then also stretching, it actually kind of feels good. When you do it right and you do it often, it actually starts to feel pretty good. And your body starts to feel much better and much more healthier as you continue to do it. And over the first couple of weeks of our new school year in virtual, that's a great time to start really working on flexibility, because as we get into the longer part of the year and we start doing more challenging exercises, if we're more flexible, it's going to be much easier to do them. Okay, so now here's where I'm going to show you the slides, and I'm going to tell you whether they are dynamic or static stretches. Remember, dynamic are moving ones, and static meaning that you're not moving while you're doing them. But you are going to watch the videos that are in the Google Classroom under this link from this video. You're going to watch all the exercises. There's about 10 of them, and you're going to do them as I do them and follow along in the video. Okay, so arm rotations, this would be an example of a static. You stand there and you just move your arms around in a circle in your shoulders. Okay, this would be considered a static exercise, flexibility exercise. A trunk lift, okay, this is working on those spine muscles. Okay, the muscles that are important in your trunk to lift up are your spinal muscles. Okay, these are muscles that are really close to the middle part of your back, that run from your neck all the way down to the lower part of your back towards your hips. And a trunk lift is also a static stretch. You are not moving when you do it. Even though you lift up your trunk and your chest, it is still considered a static stretch. Butterflies, the same thing. The muscles that are used, you can see in the slides, are the muscles that are highlighted in red in this person's body. And the butterfly stretch is also a static stretch. Okay? And we don't have to worry about the rest. A straddle stretch is also a static stretch. You sit with your feet out and you try to reach down in front of you as far as you can go. Okay, and you'll see that in the video. I'll explain all that more in the video. But that's also a static stretch. Sitting and reaching, you're trying to touch your toes without bending your knees, and bending over to touch your toes. Those are all considered static stretches as well. Okay. The hamstring stretch, this could actually be a static, or it could be considered a dynamic depending on how you do it. As you can see, the person in the picture here, they're lifting their knee up to their chest. Now, if you remember in class, we've done high knees where we bring our knees up in the air and move them quickly up in the air. If you do it like that, it actually becomes a dynamic stretch. But if you're just standing there holding your knee to open up that stretch a little bit, then it's a static stretch. Okay, so this one's a combination one. It's kind of a tricky one. A lunge. okay? Now a lunge, we've done these in class. Again, this one could be dynamic or it could be static. If you stay in one spot and do your lunge, then it's considered a static. But if you do a walking lunge where you lunge, then you take another step forward and do another lunge, then you could consider it a dynamic stretch because then you are moving and doing the stretch all in one, okay? The calf stretch, this one is more of a static stretch. As you'll see in the video, it's the muscle in the back of the leg that you are trying to stretch out. A lot of times you'll see people putting their foot up against a wall to try to help stretch out this muscle a little bit, increase its flexibility. This is also a static stretch, okay? Again, this is the quad stretch, the muscles that are in the front of your body, okay? Because there are 4 of them, quad meaning 4, okay? And these are the muscles in the front of the leg that you are stretching when you pull your foot up behind you. This also can be a static or a dynamic stretch. If you stand there and pull your foot behind you and hold it up as close as you can to your bottom, then it's a static stretch. But if you start jogging and you do like butt kicks where you're kicking your feet back and trying to almost kick your bottom or your butt behind you, that's why they call them butt kicks, and you're kind of jogging as you go, then it becomes a dynamic stretch, okay? So it's kind of a unique one, okay? So these are some examples of some of the stretches you're gonna do and practice. Remember, don't forget to practice the videos. I will have all those videos posted in the Google Classroom right underneath this link. Go in, watch each one of those videos, practice those exercises as I do them, and then complete your exit ticket. Don't forget to complete your exit ticket to get credit for all of your work. The answers to all your exit ticket questions are going to be in this video or in the videos that you watch and practice the exercises. Okay? Stay safe, stay healthy, stay stretched out. Let's get flexible. Have a great day, and don't forget to do your other videos before you submit your exit ticket. Have a great night. Be safe, be healthy.